Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, James, the Fat Man Stevens.
Hello.
Rob, the Old Guy.
From the world's famous Rob Charney show.
And
you have your plug?
And we may have a special guest at some point.
We may.
Possibly. So we're going to get all our celebrity news out of the way. Tremor star Fred Ward passed away at 79 years old.
Yeah, I saw that. Did you also see that the guy who produced the Ernest movies passed away too?
Yes, and I didn't catch his name. I couldn't find a report about it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a guy, Ernest, that would kind of a shame. Died kind of young, right in the middle of his finally getting some true fame other than commercials.
Yeah.
John L. Sullivan, Auto Group.
Yeah. And 1,000 different Ernest movies. Let's see. Fred Ward was in The Right Stuff in 1974. He went on to have a long career in a wide variety of characters like The Player, Shortcuts, First, Do No Harm, and on TV shows like Grey's Anatomy, Leverage, and more. They
didn't list Tremors in there?
They do. That was the first thing, was like Tremor star. I guess that's what he's known for the most.
Yeah, but they didn't have him in that list right there.
No, they didn't. I don't know why. I actually really like Fred Ward, but my favorite character is the Tremors character. Just because it's such a unique,
for sure,
wacky character. Ezra Miller is being recast in The Flash because he keeps having odd interactions with law enforcement. And there's rumors, that Marvel's trying to figure out a way to actually recast him, like having a different universe's Flash somehow join the DC whatever universe for Flash instead of just straight up replacing him.
You know, why not just replace the guy and go another guy and say there's no reason why, we just have a new actor doing it and just leave it at that and just do it. And you need a mute button, Jonathan.
Yeah, they have had
get that mute. Get your cough switch going. But anyway, let him just prove it.
Ezra Miller has had some very bad run-ins with law enforcement, and apparently all the stuff I've found is he's been the direct cause. So I have
the problem. Studios been having problems with actors forever since they started making movies. And so you need to figure out a way. Just do it. Just cut him off. Say, we're not going to make any comments, but this actor is now the Flash, and go about your business. Don't worry about folding him into another universe and all this other crap.
I think it's kind of clever, but I definitely agree. I think they're kind of overdoing it to try to find an excuse and why all of a sudden it's a different character when most people don't care.
Well, I heard something. He got in a fight with some people, and then started fighting police officers before calming down recently. So
let's see.
I don't know.
Warner Brothers.
I don't know if he's like drunk or high or what, but
Warner Brothers might have no choice but to replace Ezra Miller, considering all the trouble he has put himself in. He was arrested for essentially robbing and threatening a couple in their hotel room. Then he got angry at a bar in Hawaii, threw a chair which struck a 26-year-old woman in the face. She sustained half-inch cut on her head from the chair. Whatever demon seems to have the stranglehold on Miller, it needs to be done right away. I don't know.
Sorry to hear that.
And it's not Jason Blood's demon, apparently. Wish him luck, whatever. And my favorite quote, this is going to be short because just the headline is hilarious. I don't know if my dad is familiar with the band Papa Roach, but Jacoby Shaddix, the lead singer of Papa Roach, said, "I was verbally assassinated by Sharon Osbourne." And I'm going to leave it like that because the story's stupid, but really funny that he pissed Sharon off.
Okay.
All right. No, I don't know who we're talking about, and I don't really care.
To be honest, you're not missing much.
Okay, there you go.
In local news, you guys hear about the idiot of the year?
No.
Why don't you let us know which idiot of the year we're talking about?
Talking about the El Dorado County Sheriff's Correctional Officer who showed up high on methamphetamine at the jail.
Yeah. So now he's a correctional officer, not
Yeah.
deputy, right? He's a correctional officer, and he shows up to the jail high on meth.
Yep.
And all of your other working people are there and understand what somebody on meth looks like and acts like, yet you think you're going to get away with it.
So, anyways, they suspected that he was high on meth. Called the sheriff's office. Sheriff pulls up. They do a sobriety test on him. He fails. They go out to search his vehicle and his persons and find that he brought methamphetamine into the jail.
Yeah.
So guess what? He didn't go home from work that day.
He stayed
Hasn't
over.
gone home from work yet.
Yeah. He got to stay in with all the rest of his buddies, and they're just on the wrong side of the bars.
I love.
Oh yeah.
My favorite thing about that was the press release from the EDSO on that. That was pretty funny.
No, it was very dry, straightforward. I read it. It's just, it is what it is. But, all you can do is shake your head at the whole thing when you're reading it. It's like, oh, my goodness, what is wrong with people? So.
I'm not surprised, but it is funny. So Musk says, and this is from Reuters.com, Musk says 44 billion Twitter deal on hold over fake accounts. This is from May 13th. Elon Musk on Friday said that his 44 billion cash deal for Twitter was temporarily on hold, where he waits for the social media company to provide data on the proportion of its fake accounts. Twitter said today that they have software and stuff to deal with all the fake accounts, but I've heard a lot of information where up to like a quarter of the accounts on that thing is fake, and I think that's what he's buying. I've heard that's one of the reasons the price is so high. How do you tell? I mean, to be honest, between fake accounts and accounts that aren't used anymore, how do you actually tell?
Twitter has its own bots too that they have running around all the time doing things, which have been counted as users as well, is my understanding.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of bots from a guy who years ago, anytime his Comcast account went down, it tweets to Twitter going @Comcast I'm down. So how do you tell between bots, fake accounts, people who are using it to spam for media reasons? I mean, I don't know how you do that.
You delete everyone
and start over?
I think, yeah. Yeah, just delete the whole thing.
Just delete everybody and start all over. Just tell everybody, hey, guess what? You got to start all over again.
So here's one.
I think so.
So here's a different one than I've heard. This is a lot less than I've heard. The estimate number of spam accounts, the microblogging site was held steady below 5% since 2013, according to the regulatory file in Twitter. See, I've read more, but I don't know where I read that. So that's, and it caused the stock to actually go down. I don't know. I think Twitter is such a trash fire that I'm actually thinking it would be better if it just went out of business.
That's what I'm saying. Just delete the whole thing and restart it.
No, I meant just like bury it. Don't restart it. Be like Babylon. Nobody should ever resurrect it.
So none of us are real Twitter users, but you talk to the people that are on Twitter all the time, and they really like it. They like the platform, and and use it quite a bit.
Never really.
I don't
know.
Every now and then I look. I have my Twitter account, but nobody follows me because I don't do anything on it.
Yeah, I don't do anything. I was done after Facebook. That's as far as I'm concerned.
I've got 4 or 5 Twitter accounts for different things, and I've never found a decent use for it. I've never had any quality conversations, because anytime, specifically around firearms, for example, if somebody says AR-15 is the most dangerous, and I say, well, no, it's basically... Yeah, and if I say it's basically an overpowered 22, I get people saying it is a 22 to people saying, no, it's more dangerous than a 22, and it's just like... It's like being in a room and yelling fire. It's literally the worst place to have a conversation.
Oh, absolutely, John. You know that on any, and I don't care if it's Twitter or Facebook, whatever it's going to be, anything that you can have people comment and talk about, it's not gonna work. It just doesn't.
I've had decent conversations on Twitter now because I've kind of collated the people I'm friends with. And people who are just ready to attack me, I'll just defriend. It's like, unless you show me some sort of civil level of respect, I have no reason to keep you on my page. Matter of fact, I'll block you and you have to figure out how to get a hold of me in real life, which I do. And I've had better conversations that way when I'm just not willing to deal with it. I have no desire to have a bitch fest. I'm just too old.
I don't disagree with you, and that's why your blocking list is so long.
Yeah, I have about 31 people I'm blocking on Facebook currently.
I just don't even count. And like I said, most of mine are fact checkers.
So here is something that I've been waiting for since it came out. This is from Engadget.com. Proposed Ohio legislation would criminalize AirTag stalking. Now, the first time I heard about this is I think a woman found an AirTag in her purse. I've seen TikToks where people found it in like in their trunk of their car, and those little pockets in their on their trucks. A group of bipartisan lawmakers in Ohio has introduced a bill to criminalize AirTag stalking. If passed by state legislature, that's HB 672, would prohibit a person from knowingly installing a tracking device or application on another person on another's property without another person's consent. Now, here is the question I have. And so, say for some reason you have a wife who's driving a car that's in his name. Can he put an AirTag in that car, even if, say, they're on the way out? She doesn't live there, but it's still his property. I mean, that, you know.
I would think, yeah, if it's his property.
Let's see.
You know, you open up a can of worms with that one, because one, it has to do is a community property state. Is it, what's the story? If they're not actually divorced yet, they both joint own it, no matter whose name it's in. There's too many other variables with that question, I think.
But that just sounds like a court case. That's going to have to be decided with a court over that one, considering that I doubt that's written into the law already. So that's going to have to be law clarification, which would be a court case.
Yeah.
Yep.
A report from Motherboard suggested AirTag stalking isn't an issue limited to a few high-profile incidents. After outlet requesting any records mentioning AirTag from a dozen U.S. police departments, it received roughly 150 reports. Of those, 50 cases involved were women thought someone was in stalking. In February, Apple said it would implement additional safety features to prevent AirTag stalking later in the year. AirTags, of course, was designed to help people locate their personal property, that personal property not being a person.
You know what gets me? And there's been a number of companies that have come out with these things prior to Apple coming out with AirTags. Just lost the name of one of them because I've used them for a while and they don't last very long. But anyway, so AirTags cost anywhere from $20 to $30 per AirTag. And how many people are just going to drop something randomly into somebody's body, shirt, pocket, whatever it may be, car, at $20 a crack? I mean, unless money doesn't mean anything to you, or that's part of your enjoyment is to stalk people.
Or if you're a serial killer and plan on getting the AirTag back.
But let's be honest though. If you're say for example you're a jealous boyfriend or a jealous girlfriend, what's $20 to keep track of somebody when they don't necessarily know that they're being tracked? I mean, $20 isn't a lot of money in the scheme of things for that level of the control.
Possibly, but I'm talking about somebody who's going to do it more than once. A serial tagger, how's that? So I don't know. Just okay. One more thing
I'm curious. Hold on, let me see how much they actually cost, because I thought so. An Apple AirTag 4-pack is $100.
$95 on Amazon. I just looked it up.
So. Wow.
They're anywhere from $20 to $30 depending on where you buy them and how many you buy. How's that?
Yeah, so I can see it. I do think it is expensive, but if you're one of these people who are just down and determined to stalk somebody, that's a pretty cheap barrier to entry. I have heard though that Apple has implemented some stuff within the last 6 months that makes it Like you can detect it. Your phone goes by and it goes ding, 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 ding. That
I
type
heard
of thing.
something about that. Yeah, I haven't used one, so I don't exactly know. But
Ah.
no, that's good. So
I have I don't know if we did this or not. It's 18 states with weird laws about beer, wine, and liquor. Have we done this one before?
maybe not that exact list. Let's go ahead and do it.
So, Melanie, this is for you. 18 states with weird laws about beer, wine, and liquor. Massachusetts, no happy hour.
No happy hour in Massachusetts.
Not in Massachusetts. The home of the
That's
Boston
an
Red
unhappy.
the home of
You
the
call
Boston,
it an unhappy hour?
Exactly. The home of the Boston Red Sox and New England Patriots forbid happy hours. Public safety measure. We understand the logic. People can get wild during happy hour after all, but we'd miss the drink specials. I love this. Run the link. It says here are the 18 best recipes from Massachusetts. South Carolina, no alcohol on election days. South Carolina has banned sales of all alcohol on election days. Why? The state thought politicians might bribe citizens with free drinks.
I was thinking, is it because people were getting drunk and burning things when they lost the election?
I think, what type of alcoholic are you when you're drunk, when a politician can buy you like some sort of alcohol
Vote for me.
and you get their vote?
I can see it now. It's a new slogan. Vote for me, I'll buy you a beer.
I was going to
That'll be
say
a
a true
new one.
alcoholic, John.
You know what? Let's do it. A vote for me is a natty in the cooler.
No, a Pabst, John.
There you
Pabst.
go. Yeah, a Pabst in the cooler.
Even I wouldn't do that to somebody. Oklahoma, beer must be room temperature.
What?
Oh,
What?
hold on.
What?
I was about to chunder. Anyone who wants to crack open a cold beer in Oklahoma might be in for a rude awakening. Up until in October 2018, all beers except low alcohol brews must be sold at room temperatures at liquor stores. It's okay. Beer of any temper tastes great. No, it won't. Warm beer is gross.
Yeah, I don't know. The
So
Brits
at a
just
bar, you can still purchase a cool
disagree.
beer.
Yeah,
Yes,
apparently.
you just
so.
can't.
Apparently, it's
Just
just
at
going
a
to a
liquor
liquor
store.
store.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
That's just
Next.
gross.
That's probably to make it so people don't drink them outside on hot days.
Yeah, I mean, you just go right in, buy your six pack, head out the door and crack it open. I could kind of understand it, I guess. I don't know. If you're that diehard, you're
That's
going to
what
drink
we're
it no
gonna
matter
do.
what. Put it on ice.
You're gonna do like the alcoholics I know. You're always gonna have that red cooler in the left hand side, so you can make sure right hand side. So you make sure so you can make sure you grab it when you drive it.
Or beer on ice is a new thing.
It's just true. I think
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
saw
say,
them
you
when
can
I was a
go
kid.
into a liquor store, get a cup of ice, buy your beer, then go outside.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not the first one to have thought of this.
No, I'm sure we're not.
James, I think you have money in there. I think you came up with something.
Better patent it.
Iowa,
50 cents for a cup of ice.
right? Make sure it's the good ice. Iowa, you must pay beer tabs in full. Here's a law we can get behind in Iowa. Patrons are allowed to start a tab at the bar, but bartenders must make sure the tab has been paid in full before a customer leaves. I thought that was the practice everywhere.
When was that not a thing? I mean, now
Well,
it's so another ticket you get. Hey, you didn't pay. Not only am I pulling you over for driving drunk, but you didn't pay your tab either. So here's another.
isn't
We're
that
gonna lock you up, put you in jail.
It's an old gag. It's an old gag on sitcoms where you can't get, this said person can't get any more beer because they ran up a $200 tab in that previous month. Happened to Hawkeye and MASH too. I don't know why any restaurant would allow you to have a running tally though. That's not done at the end of the night. Utah, no drinks without food. The Beehive State will only let you purchase drinks at restaurants if you're buying food too. In most cases, categorized differently, and so are some restaurants with bars. So you don't have to order munchies. They thought it's never a bad idea to chow down and have some wings or nachos.
Huh.
Alabama, no beers larger than 25.4 fluid ounces. Up until 2012, the stores in Alabama were prohibited from selling beer bottles of 16 fluid ounces or more. Today, the Heart of Dixie permits up to 25.4.
So you can't have a 40 ounce. They don't believe in those.
You just buy two.
There you go. Well, then it's like 48. Oh, so whatever.
Indiana, no booze without food. New York, this shocks me. No drinks on Sunday morning. Sunday must have been Bourdain's most
On
hated.
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
So does that mean from 12:01 a.m. till 11:59 a.m.? Is that what they're saying? I mean, what do they consider morning? Do they
Let's
say?
see. They say New York City is the city that never sleeps, but its bartenders do. Take some much needed deserved rest. In fact, restaurants cannot serve alcohol beverages until 10 a.m. on a Sunday. It's a marketing gimmick for brunch. It has to be.
Mimosas.
Underage drinkers must have to pen an essay. That's okay. Wouldn't have stopped anybody I know. Matter of fact, most of them would probably had it ready. No drinking games. You can't play drinking games in any of the Maine's bars. The state law prohibits any games, contests involve drinking.
So no beer pong.
Pretty much. It's actually what the
That's about the only drinking game I know of.
Yeah, but is there other ones that don't involve watching movies or other
Well,
things?
darts. Part of darts is throwing darts and playing for a number and bet a number, and then if you don't get it, you got to shoot a drink. I mean, and I've seen it in billiards. Where people got to sink a certain number or you have to drink it. So there's all kinds of different beer games or drinking games.
Okay.
So Tennessee, no
Never
whiskey
played those
tasting.
before. I
Just
played
saying.
darts and dice and
Dice.
pool. That's about all I did. I didn't add drinking to it.
Tennessee, no whiskey,
Yeah,
no
you can add
whiskey
drinking to
tasting.
anything.
Tasting? English is a hard one today. Jack Daniel's famous
No
whiskey
whiskey tasting.
distillery in Moore County, a dry county in Tennessee. Up until recently, a distillery guests were treated to a glass of cool, mouth-watering lemonade after the tour. Fortunately, visitors are now able to taste of the good stuff.
I
would
read
argue,
that. I actually had heard that before.
I would argue Jack Daniel's being the good stuff, but hey, whatever floats your boat.
Better than Maker's Mark.
Yeah, unless you're cooking with it. Virginia, happy hours has rules. Virginia law allows happy hours. Bars and restaurants are required to follow some strict rules. For example, they can only advertise with the phrase drink specials or happy hour plus 2 for 1 drink specials are off limits. What?
That's confusing.
Okay, this is New Jersey, no vanity plates. Drinking and driving should never be tolerated, but New Jersey has some pretty wacky consequences for those getting behind the wheel. Not only do you have to understandably pay fines, but you're also disqualified from receiving personalized vanity plates for the next 10 years.
Huh.
Florida, no beer sales before
Nothing
hurricanes.
surprises me with New Jersey.
No.
No beer sales. Beer sales before hurricanes.
To be honest, that's the only reason I'd want to drink. That's I've got to have a little fun as this giant funnel of wind is heading in my direction, mowing my house down.
As you're sitting in your backyard on your lawn chair, watching the hurricane coming at you, right?
Probably to prevent people from
Oh,
being
look at this, Martha!
Don't forget, while whistling, it's a small world after all. Colorado, you have to leave your horses at home. In Colorado, it's illegal to ride a horse under the influence of drugs, alcohol. The law may seem random at first, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Alaska,
Too drunk to be on that horse, sir. Get off that horse. You got to walk your horse home. You're too drunk to ride him.
Alaska, you have to stay sober. Pace yourself, folks. It doesn't matter whether you show up inebriated or ordered a few too many drinks after you get there. It's illegal to be drunk in an Alaska bar. To make matters worse, a new law suggests legal law authorities can arrest you and hold you in jail until you sober up.
Wait a minute.
Alaska is a pretty dry state.
There's a lot of
a very dry state.
Well, all right. So, okay, you're right. In very many of the indigenous areas, that's the case because that population has problems with alcohol. But there's other areas where you're 4 or 5 months in total darkness. All they do is sit in bars and drink. You can't tell me those people aren't drunk.
So here's 17 of 18, Nevada. You can buy liquor at any time and pretty much anywhere. Liquor flows in the state of Nevada. Louisiana, bars stay open 24/7.
No surprise.
Here's the one that I wanted. I wish Ryan was here for. Another one that I thought was interesting. More human remains found at Lake Mead as the reservoir water levels plunge. They've been pulling a ton of items out of the lake since the water levels have gone down.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It was the second set of human remains found at the lake. The county's largest reservoir, the country's largest reservoir as waters plunged. First body was discovered on May 1st, likely a murder victim who died from gunshot wounds sometime in the 70s or early 80s.
So they're blaming the mafia. They're blaming the mafia for what they're finding so far. A number of bodies are going, the number of people in the Las Vegas area, greater area, have disappeared throughout the decades. And they're saying it was the mafia's favorite.
Fishes.
It's the mafia's favorite location to dispose of bodies.
I believe it. I mean, it makes sense. Plus the fact it's a good story to tell.
Yeah. So, did you hear about that they're doing a Wonder Years reboot?
Yes. Everything's getting.
Did you hear Fred Savage is being fired?
I did. I actually have that as one of my stories somewhere.
Yeah, verbal outburst and inappropriate behavior. I want to know what his inappropriate behavior was. They don't really say.
I haven't seen anything that said in detail what it is. Well, I'm sure we'll hear about it at some point here, but yeah, I guess he was a bad boy.
The Wonder Years, but it wasn't like something I was like ever thinking they should redo.
I'm to be completely,
and it's like again running out of ideas, Hollywood.
The Wonder Years, it's just like when they redid the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's just something that's such a thing in time. It's like rebooting Maude or Sanford and Sons or pick a 70s show. It just doesn't. I just don't think it fits. Here. Let's see. So Jason Harvey. Not necessarily. Let's see. Fred. Not that I necessarily knew that Fred Savage was an asshole. I wasn't aware of the lawsuit filed against him and settled for his behavior on the grinder. Although I do know about the Wonder Years lawsuit, which about Savage being an asshole on different variety. Two varieties of courses go hand in hand. He and co-star Jason Harvey were accused of being frat boy jackasses around women in the costume department. Harvey allegedly made frequent lewd comments around her, was simulating oral sex. While Savage was an entitled 16-year-old who pressured women twice his age to go on dates with him, and he refused to take no for an answer. The Wonder Years dad was a jackass too, allegedly joking that women should take Savage's virginity, while the sitcom mom, Allie Mills, chalked it up to boys will be boys. Well, I can see the 16-year-old and however Jason Harvey was, but I would not be surprised if this continued from Fred Savage. But the story I found,
Grinder?
I don't know. Is it a movie? I honestly don't know. It just says the behavior on the grinder, so I don't know if it's a TV show, or a movie, or a
behavior
dating
on the grinder. Okay, I didn't. I was thinking it was like the app.
Isn't that like for gay people?
Yeah, that's why I was like, why is he going for women if he's on Grinder?
Oh, here it is. The Grinder TV series, 2015 to 2016, TV PG. Television lawyer Dean Sanderson moves back to his small hometown after a stint in Hollywood, thinking his time on TV qualifies him to run the family's law firm. And this TV show must have tanked. I have never heard of it. Oh, and it's with Rob Lowe. What?
Huh.
Rob Lowe and Fred Savage. There's a couple of blue dots. Good God.
Yeah, so it just kind of sounds like Fred Savage just became a very I don't know. He probably was always that, but a very entitled bastard.
A Me Too waiting to happen.
Yeah, pretty much. Huh.
Bummer.
So here's a short one. I don't know how many people, you guys have a whole lot of stories. Netflix tells employees to quit if they're offended by new culture memo. Streaming giant Netflix has told its employees to leave the company if they're offended by the content the company is producing. The directives found in a memo first reported by Variety entitled Netflix Culture - Seeking Excellence. As employees were the principle that Netflix reset. As employees, we support the principles that Netflix offers a diversity of stories, even if we find some titles counter to our own personal values. Depending on your role, you may need to work on titles you perceive to be harmful, the memo continued. If you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. That surprises me, to be honest.
Oh.
Truth in corporate entity. How's that? So good for them. I'm saying good for them. Find out it's not the way I thought it was, but whatever.
Well, they were going to do another, what was that movie with Will Smith, The Bright or whatever, the one where he had like goblins and fairies and other shit going on.
It just got
canceled.
And
they canceled that because of him slapping people.
The slap heard around the world.
That slap keeps getting more interesting.
You know, you're hearing
Dave
it from
Chapelle got assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what the craziest thing about that? Yeah. The jackass who did it is getting a misdemeanor. He's not being charged with a felony assault.
Yeah, I heard that.
And he had a knife in the shape of a gun. If the guy has a legit weapon on him, why not charge him with a felony? Why? By the way, I'm going to say this out loud. There's got to be at some point somebody's going to try to challenge Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's just to knock the person out.
Well, this whole thing with comics being insulted, I guess it's been going on for a while, and I can't remember which comic came out and said
hecklers
that.
Aren't new.
No, hecklers aren't, but this threat, these things are like happened to Dave Chapelle, this whole idea of somebody coming up and attacking you while you're on stage doing your set. It's been happening more and more, particularly in smaller venues with basically unheard comedians, but they're being attacked for all kinds of reasons, physically attacked. And that's got to stop. I mean, it's just terrible.
Yeah, it's just people can't take jokes.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's interesting when I've read a little bit in the Will Smith thing because I find it interesting. Apparently him and Jada Pinkett Smith the last 5 years haven't gotten along. I guess she's not talking to him and she's threatening to take half his fortune, which in the state of California, she may legitimately be entitled to it. But the most interesting thing is he's probably lost $50 to $100 million worth of work. Everything that he was involved in, everything he was involved in on some level has been officially canceled and or put on temporary permanent hold. I am absolutely shocked at that.
I'm not.
Yeah, no,
I'm really not. Hollywood doesn't really put up with some shit, no matter who you are. And that was their big moment of this year, and he went up and ruined it.
Yeah, but see, the reason why I'm shocked is because Harvey Weinstein was a monster for decades, and everybody knew it and didn't give a crap. But because Will Smith,
but it wasn't out in the public.
Yeah, I guess I'll give it to you that
It
one.
was behind closed doors. Hollywood's going to let it go until it becomes publicized. What Will Smith did was in front of everyone. That's the big difference. They can't sweep that under the rug.
Yeah, that's for sure. And good on Chris Rock for saying you're going to have to pay to see what happens.
For me to talk about it?
Yeah.
He said, if you want me to talk about it, you're going to have to pay. I don't blame him.
That's such a veteran move to do.
Yeah.
He did. I did read something in the last couple of days that said then his next Netflix thing, he'll talk about it. And I totally think he should charge people for that. I'd sell that story to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Netflix charging us to watch it. So I'm sure they're paying him.
Absolutely. So. All right, I got something for you. On this date in history, May 16th, in 1770, Marie Antoinette, 14, married the future King Louis XVI of France, who was 15 years old.
How old was she?
14. Yeah.
So that explains
Yeah.
why she said, let them eat cake. She was a kid.
Yeah, you know, she probably, except she never really said that. That was, given. In 1866, Congress authorized the minting of the first 5-cent piece, also known as the Shield nickel. Who knew? In 1929, the first Academy Awards were presented, since we were talking about the Academy Awards. And Wings won Best Production, and Janet Gaynor was named the Best Actress. How about that?
What year was it again?
1929. 10 years later, in 1939, the federal government began its first food stamp program in Rochester, New York.
Rochester.
Well, so food stamp programs aren't anything particularly new. Everybody in the 60s thought that was new. It's not new. It goes back to 1939. Jeez. Let's see, 1943. What?
Nothing is new.
Nothing's new. Yeah, I know. What's that statement? Everything that's old is new again?
Pretty much.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, Rome had a food stamps program. You show up, watch a gladiator die, and get some food.
Okay.
That's not that's not a bad deal if you're not the one on the floor.
Hey, that's as good as vote for me and get a beer.
Yeah.
Anyway. In 1957, federal agent Elliot Ness, who organized the Untouchables team that took out gangster Al Capone, died in Pennsylvania at age 54.
I'm going to get you,
In 1960, the first working laser was demonstrated at Hughes Research Laboratories in Malibu, California. You know, remember you talked about how old this old guy is? I saw that laser.
Is that why you wear glasses?
Thank you.
Literally, how did you know that 20, 30 years later, Michael Jackson would be dancing in front of one?
Moving on.
All right, with that, it's time for our favorite sponsor.
Today's show is brought to you by Audacity. The game word dignity is overrated. Go to ODDASSITY.com. That's ODDASSITY.com. Pick up a card game from this website or selected stores. That's Audacity, the unforgettable party game for mischievous people. And on checkout, I want to make sure you use MadTrio, all caps, all one word, for 10% off your final order. And make sure you tell...
Did you guys hear about the standoff in New Jersey?
Which one?
Standoff?
The guy with the flamethrower threatening the SWAT team?
No, I missed that.
Was it...
Is that today?
No, that was actually the 6th of this month. This is an older article that I had sitting here.
Was it not a flamethrower?
Yeah.
Was it one of the Boring Company's flamethrowers?
They don't actually say, and I didn't go look at the shaky, quote-unquote, shaky cell phone video of it, but they shut down the neighborhood for about 2 days trying to get this guy to come out. But, yeah, he refused for those few days, and he had a freaking flamethrower sitting out there that he was threatening the SWAT team with.
Did they...
Sounds like fun.
Was it a real military flamethrower, or was it Elon Musk's little funny pistol?
I'm trying to find... I didn't see anything about it, and like I said, it was a few days... It was the last one. But it's a long tongue... so it's shooting out fire is what they were saying. It's one of those long ones that he was shooting at the SWAT officers.
Oh, because it might have been a Bic lighter with one of the long arms on it.
It's funny though that the old school World War II flamethrowers are out there. I don't know how easy they are to get a hold of, but I know they're available.
This is on the police one website. Let me see if I can find actually.
So what we're talking about
now, with an older article I had.
When we're talking about this, I did find something interesting. Say Johnny Depp is being replaced in Pirates of the Caribbean 6 for going to be replaced by Margot Robbie. So I guess they're going to go with a female lead, which may or may not be good. There were female pirates.
Yeah. What a shame for Johnny. I mean, the guy hasn't even been convicted of anything, and here they are. I mean, he may be a strange person, but that I have mixed feelings on that one. Try to think it out loud. It's not working in my brain. Going, maybe.
The most interesting thing about the whole case, if he actually wins, that lawsuit is more money than Amber Heard owns. She literally could be paying that off to the day she dies.
She'll just claim bankruptcy and start all over again. Of course, who's going to hire her to work in anything again? So,
I think even if he doesn't win, I think she's damaged, because if you like all of her social media, I haven't seen a single person be pro Heard, and I couldn't tell you if any of them was guilty. I just know that Johnny Depp was friends with Hunter S. Thompson, and that's probably the reason that Johnny Depp is a really weird motherfucker.
Well, you saw that they got that that Amber was hacked on IMDb, and they changed her last name to Turd.
I like that.
I have heard.
I don't know if they removed that yet.
I've heard multiple locations and multiple people saying how she really does have some mental health issues. And
professionals have already come out and said that.
So
a couple of
I'm
psychiatrists that said she's got some kind of mental issue.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. There was one in the trial, and lady said, was it we were hired to do something on Amber Heard, and somebody said, were you, if I remember correctly, did you do anything on Johnny Depp? And she's like, his mental health was not in question here. It's like, oh God.
Hey, Johnny, you missed one on this date in history. Here's one for you, because he's one of the guys you like. In 1990, death claimed entertainer Sammy Davis Jr. in Los Angeles at age 64.
And after they buried him, his wife dug him up, took all the jewels off his body, then reburied him. Which
jewels
is a true
off his
story.
body and gold out of his teeth.
Yeah, because she didn't realize how broke and leveraged he was. So she broke in and took everything back. So do you find anything about that flamethrower?
No, I looked and it doesn't say.
It's been removed.
Just says flamethrower.
Fake news. And a big lighter, man.
No, it's still there, but it's everyone's saying it's just a flamethrower. They don't say what kind.
It's just a flamethrower. Heck, it won't hurt anything.
So here's a pretty funny story. This is from giantfreakingrobot.com. China thought a Top Gun Maverick prop was a real government weapon. How should a real prop for a major motion picture look? Real enough to fool audiences. The actors real enough to fool whoever in the real People's Republic of China is in charge of the task of retasking satellites. Well, if your answer is yes to the last one, you may want to send Jerry Bruckheimer your resume, the famous action movie producer. So apparently,
now,
what's that?
What is
what
we're confused.
Send me the article, John. I'll read it for you.
Go type in, literally just type in, because that's
what movie prop?
The plane itself.
Which plane? We missed the whole point of.
So the story goes, I've heard on the new Top Gun movie, it's a completely made airplane. It's an airplane that doesn't exist. Like, I think, didn't they use the F-16 Tomcat, I think, in the first one? Apparently this is a completely fake movie. Obviously, Tom Cruise is in it. It's a fake airplane.
It's a fake movie?
Yeah.
It's not based on a true story?
No, of course not. Let's see. Well, Luxury Launches speculates this could be a PR stunt on Bruckheimer's part. They also seem to think there's a good chance he's being straight. Top Gun Maverick reportedly teamed up with Lockheed Martin Skunk Works on Advanced Projects Division to design the Dark Star. In other words, the people who actually make jets for the military helped design the prop plane, which could explain the Chinese government's reported confusion. In fact, there's a chance Skunk Works purposely incorporated some elements of real jets into the fictional Dark Star jet. Luxury Launches points out that Lockheed is developing a spiritual successor to the game-changer supersonic SR-71 jet. That comparing the Dark Star design to the upcoming SR-72 reveals a bunch of similarities. The Chinese government may have plenty of good reasons to aim their satellites at the Top Gun movie prop plane.
Well, one of the other things I'm looking up while you're talking about real quick is they said that one of the things that points to that is apparently the Chinese took one of their satellites and moved it out of the stationary orbit it was at to actually zoom into an area where this movie was being filmed to look at the jet that was on the set. How about that?
I think it was funny. I think it'd be hilarious if somehow from space they got a couple of geeks on the set going, I got the need for speed. I really hope they have that from orbit because it would make me laugh. And yes, that's stupid, but hey.
Yes.
Oh,
well, it's no different than this episode.
Jeez. Does Lockheed Martin's stealthy SR-72 Dark Star spy plane have a cameo in Top Gun Maverick? Space.com. Interesting. I'm actually going to look up that jet because the SR-71 is one of my all-time favorite airplanes. So anybody have any other stories? I've got plenty.
Yeah, I do.
I've got,
So I got one.
Okay, James, go.
All right. So, and this couldn't have happened in the worst country for this. Father, age 32, stabbed a burglar to death in a brutal and ruthless killing after watching a gang, they say gang, but it was 3 people, raid his home through his Ring doorbell. So what apparently happened is this dad and his brother, his half-brother, are being charged with murder because they saw these 3 guys go into this guy's house and start stealing shit. So they go into the house, threaten the guys don't leave, and they end up stabbing them. Now they're being charged with murder.
Well, you can't do that unless you're in imminent fear of great bodily injury or harm. So
this happened in England.
Here we go again.
This guy's in a shit ton of trouble.
Did he have a registered knife? It was an unregistered assault knife. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they apparently went to the home, threatened the guys, and then they left, got knives, and came back. So yeah, they the prosecutor said the court that the stabbing was not motivated by fear or panic, but it was a brutal and ruthless killing of a defenseless man.
Yeah.
So I got something.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's England, so
yeah, I'm like that could have happened in the most worst country for that.
So this is something about for England. What James's story took place in. It says, are there any legal self-defense products that I can buy in the UK? The answer: the only fully legal self-defense product is a rape alarm. It cannot. You cannot have anything that causes injury.
Wow.
They don't allow any pepper spray in England.
Huh.
See, there may be other products according to the website, but they haven't been fully tested. If you purchase one, you must be aware there's a possibility that you will be arrested and detained until the product contents and legality can be verified. In efforts to reduce anxiety, the website goes on to point out that any product a British citizen purchases other than a rape alarm must not be a product which is made to cause personal injury. Possessions of such in a public space and private circumstances is against the law. So self-defense is illegal. Or can you be like Jean-Claude Van Damme and just be a fighter?
Well, this one isn't so much about self-defense. The guy his house was being robbed.
Right.
Yeah, he should have defended his home. Probably shouldn't have done it with a knife. I guess he could have called the cops, but it takes a while for cops to get places.
Well, even in the
So
state of
it's
California,
just
even the state of California protecting your home is iffy. Even though it is a
it's a
castle
castle,
doctrine
well,
state, it's still iffy.
Exactly. Well, in a situation like that, you cannot protect property.
Yes.
They, they're stealing your silverware, they're stealing your TV, they're stealing whatever else they might want to steal, jewelry or whatever it may be. If your life is not in danger, you should let them walk. I mean, there's no reason to kill somebody over property. Doesn't make any sense. If you are not in imminent danger, then let it go. That's my biggest suggestion for everybody. Property's just not worth it. Life's a different story.
And he's an expert, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, he is the MadTrio expert.
The expert.
He quasi does it for a living.
I'll get in some kind of trouble somewhere, and they're going to say, listen to that podcast. That guy says he's an expert. I deny all knowledge.
No.
Deny.
I remember that song.
So you said you had something, Rob?
So I was just going to go. It's my day for lists of what happens on today, and we got some birthdays. And you guys, jazz musician Billy Cobham. You guys ever heard of him?
No.
I've probably
Billy
heard
Cobham,
him, but not of him.
Back in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, and in the 80s, was a very, very well-known drummer. And he was on par with Billy Rich, as far as actual drummers. I went to a number of his concerts way back when, and the guy was unbelievable. But that's another story. Let's see. So he was 78. Pierce Brosnan. Everybody knows Pierce, 69 years old. Today, Deborah Wenger is 67. Okay, maybe rock musician Boyd Timsley. Yeah, I had to look that one up. He was with the Dave Matthews Band. He's 58. Let's see, who else? Oh yeah, here's one you guys might know. Janet Jackson is 56 years old today. How about that, huh? Or if you were
And her face is only 5.
Actor David Boreanaz is 58.
Who?
Of SEAL Team.
Oh,
okay.
Is that the TV
Boreanaz,
show?
I guess. Angel. Yeah.
SEAL Team?
Oh, yeah. Right. Well, fine. I'm not going to read this list if you guys don't know anybody I'm talking about.
Hey,
I knew that last one.
I don't
I know.
have...
They're too old for you. All right. Here's one. Rapper. Here's a rapper. Rapper. Special Ed. How does a rapper get a name like Special Ed? That's not something to be proud of.
I don't know who Special Ed is.
Anyway, he turns 50 years old today, and I was like, his name is Special Ed? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
right, how about Tori?
I just think it's funny you say we don't know who these people are, and you pick a genre that James and I don't know anything about.
Birthdays of actors and musicians.
Hey, I know some
Come on.
Okay, Special Ed. What do you know about him, James?
He's special.
Circle gets a square. Oh God!
He's
Next,
definitely special. Tori Spelling. You guys know who Tori Spelling is?
yeah, actress 90210.
All right, never mind. She's 49. All right, how about this one? Maybe closer to you guys' age. Megan Fox. You know who Megan Fox is?
Yeah, she's the trollop from the Transformers movies. Who, for somehow, and she's dating a musician.
I give up.
Hey, I actually know who Megan Fox is.
Good. Well, she's 36. That's it. I'm not going to do one of these birthday things ever again. You guys are done.
Wow. No, come on. Keep going.
No, that's it. I am done.
So I have a story for you. A South Carolina man died from a heart attack. Died from a heart problem while boring.
A heart attack is a problem.
But
and it's boring sometimes when you have a heart attack.
Yeah, burying the woman he strangled.
Oh,
okay, try this again. Oh, I heard.
We got somewhere. Rob, can you clear this one up for
Yeah,
everyone?
absolutely. There was a guy digging a grave of a guy to put a body in that he had just killed, and then he dies of a heart attack while he's digging the grave for the guy he
Did he
just
fall
killed.
in the hole?
Yeah,
Circle
he already
gets the
dug his
square.
own grave that way. See?
It's in the hole.
You get it?
A 60-year-old man strangled a woman, tried to bury her in the backyard of their South Carolina home. But he had a cardiac event in the process of covering a pit and died, according to the news release from the Edgefield County Sheriff's Office. Deputies responded to the home in Trenton on Saturday morning, calls of unresponsive man laying in his yard. Deputies identified him as Joseph McKinnon, who had no signs of trauma and natural causes were respected, the release said. As deputy noticed next of kin, a second body was found in the freshly dug pit. The release said officers identified the remains as Patricia Dent, 65, who also lived at the home. Dent appeared to have died of foul play. The investigators led deputies to believe that Kinnan attacked Dent inside the home, then buried her, then he died.
And the officers, when they were all done, just kicked a little bit of dirt over his body, and they were over with. It's done. It's finished. We wrapped that one up, Sarge. No problem. We've solved it for you.
At least he died at the scene of the crime.
And left evidence.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one from InsideTheMagic.net. Not going to go too far in it, but I think it's interesting. Disney CEO Bob Chapek, who may or may not be on the way out, says new films will be successful without release in China. China is one of the Walt Disney Company's most significant source of revenues for its films. Disney has large fan base there, and given the country's boast of population over 1.4 billion, the fan base plays a significant role in whether or not a film is booming at the box office.
Okay. We're boycotting China and going to piss them off some more, basically.
I know Warner Brothers and a bunch of other places have actually had issues with China releases, specifically about like LGBT stuff, which I think is interesting. And there was that one with a red panda, I think had issues in China, and a bunch of other ones.
Oh, you talking about the one where it was like people? I didn't watch it. James watched it a few times, but it was something about like they get angry or their emotions make them big in the pandas or whatever.
I honestly have no idea. I saw the trailer and it still didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't really watch it. James was talking about it, but that was about all I knew about it.
So it's, I don't know. I'm kind of out of stories, and I think we're coming up to the end of the episode.
Yeah, this is another one in the can.
Wow, that's.
Wait. Got one more thing to be able to do.
Please be a
Rob's
birthday.
still mad.
Do you want to keep up to date on the maddest of the mad at the MadTrio podcast? Check out our social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or go to themadtrio.com.
There, perfect way to end the show.
And make sure you go to Audacity.com, buy a card game, use MadTrio, all caps, all one word, for 10% off your final order. And make sure you tweet it, Facebook it, whatever your social media of choice is. Tag us and Audacity. We are on every major social media platform, and say, thanks, MadTrio. And for the California Pride, the Fat Man, the Old Guy, and special guest who didn't show up, as always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.